to come off. Or not. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be doing a much requested video about handling tarantulas. I did think about doing a video like this before in the past, but I didn't do it because I am very aware of the fact that handling spiders and tarantulas is seen as a very controversial subject in the tarantula hobby. There are some keepers who prefer not to handle their tarantulas, and there are some who, like me, decide that they do want to handle their tarantulas, and it tends to be the people who don't handle their tarantulas will be more than happy to go out of their way to make people who do handle their tarantulas feel bad or try and belittle them as keepers and make them feel like they are doing less or not treating that spider in a well way, even going as far as claiming that holding tarantulas is classed as animal abuse, which it is not. These people are not shy about making their opinions known and are kind of a little bit mean about it and can be a bit mean about it. Personally, I do not believe that you should be going out of your way to be mean to somebody who just does something different than you. It's fine if you don't want to handle your tarantulas, but if it's something that you do want to consider and you're prepared to take the steps to do it safely, I don't think that it is a problem. And honestly, seeing as you are the people that are buying the tarantulas and caring for them, what you do with your tarantulas and how you care for them is completely up to you. As long as their needs are being met, then there shouldn't really be an issue. That being said, it did put me off for a long time. I wanted to hold my tarantulas, but I felt very scared and I felt like I was going to be judged if I did it. And so I didn't hold them for a very long time because of other people in the industry. But if you are on my Instagram page and you do follow me, you'll see that I post a lot of pictures and videos of me holding my tarantulas. And that is because I decided that my tarantulas are healthy, they are happy, and as long as they seem okay and their behavior is fine, I didn't think there was anything wrong with handling tarantulas or handling my tarantulas. And I decided that my opinion mattered with my spiders, the ones I care for and the ones that I bought, more than the people who don't know me, don't know my tarantulas, and don't really have any business telling me what I can and cannot do with them. And so that is what I decided to do. So I decided to do this video for all the people out there that want to hold their tarantulas and want to interact with them and want to know how to do it in a safe way, and who want to make sure that they're following every sort of precaution that they possibly can in order to make sure that their tarantulas are safe while they are in fact being handled. So that's what this video is going to be about. I will be talking a little bit about the different things you need to take into consideration before you handle your tarantulas. And I will also kind of be showing you the kinds of spiders or size tarantulas that I would not handle, as well as the size tarantulas that I will. I will tell you all of the things that I do in order to make sure that the spiders are as safe as possible, and I will also show you all of the things that you should make sure that you have readily available when you handle yours. The first thing you need to consider is the fact that most New World tarantulas have eradicating hair that is categorized between type 1 and type 6. 3 and 4, I think, being the worst. But these eradicating hairs on your tarantula can be kicked off, but they can also be rubbed off with contact to your tarantula. These eradicating hairs are a defense mechanism for the tarantula, but if they get on your skin, they could be just as itchy. Some people don't really have much of a reaction to it. It will just itch for a little while and then go back to regular, depending on the type. It could be worse or less, but some people can be allergic to them and can have more of a reaction to them than regular people, and this can result in rashes, hives, and maybe even sometimes hospital treatment. So you have to consider that before you handle your tarantula. Personally, I don't really seem to have very much of a reaction to my tarantulas eradicating hairs. I do, however, wash my hands after I'm done holding my tarantulas, and sometimes I might be a little bit itchy for about half an hour to maybe an hour later, but usually I don't really have much of a more of a reaction than that. If you are somebody, however, who does have more of a reaction to tarantula hair, you may want to consider not holding your tarantulas. But if you are determined, however, to hold your tarantulas, there are things you can do, like wearing long sleeves or wearing rubber gloves or like plastic gloves or something to safeguard yourself while you do it. Another thing that you need to consider is the fact that even though tarantulas' instinct will be to run away or kick hairs, they do have the ability to just turn around and bite. Though it's more common for old world tarantulas to bite rather than just run away, it is also possible for new worlds to throw threat poses and bite also. And this is something that you need to consider when holding your tarantula. There is always a chance that something unexpected could happen while you're handling your tarantula that could end up spooking your tarantula and causing it to bolt or turn around and bite. If it was to bolt, then it could bolt off a table or bolt off a chair or bolt off your hand midair and fall a couple of feet, and those couple of feet could be fatal to a tarantula. It could cause it to rupture his abdomen, which could then cause it to pass away. You also have to consider the fact that if a tarantula was to turn around and bite you, the natural reaction would be to pull your hand away and fling whatever it is away from you. And if that's your tarantula, then if it was to bite you and you flung your hand away, the likelihood is that your tarantula could go flying across the room, and that would also not be good because that would also cause injury to the spider, and it causes injuries to you. So you do have to be aware of the fact that spiders can bite and they might bite, and you also have to be aware of the fact that your reactions to their actions could also be potentially harmful to your tarantula. But also, if a tarantula was to do something like jump off a couple of foot table, then it could end up injuring your tarantula too. So there are a lot of things that you need to take into consideration, that you need to be aware of, and that you need to consider before even beginning to handle your tarantula. There are ways that we can minimize the risks. Obviously, we can't ensure that they're all gone entirely, but there are things that we can do to keep ourselves safer and our spiders safer, and that's what this video is hopefully going to show you. Okay, so first of all, I want to show you the size of tarantula that I would not handle, and they come in these sized pots. So in here is Kruger, my Acanthoscaria geniculata, and as you can see, this one is utterly tiny. For reference, she's right there. So she is a very, very tiny, teeny, tiny little spider. I would not try and handle her because I don't want to lose her. I don't want to end up dropping her and losing her or accidentally standing on her or anything. So she pretty much stays in this pot religiously until she gets to a size where I can see her without a magnifying glass. So she is not a size tarantula that I would handle. Obviously accidents happen, but I would not go out of my way to handle that size tarantula. So this is Coven, my Depentaloris. He is about 1.5 centimeters at the moment, though he is significantly bigger than Kruger, my Acanthoscaria geniculata. I still would not go out of my way to try and hold him. Would I freak out if he went on me? No, I would not, but I would most likely just try and put him back in the pot as quickly as possible because I don't want to risk losing him, especially when they're this small. They are hellishly fast, and I don't want to risk hurting him or ending up squishing him or losing him. So he stays in this pot until I can sort of see him a bit better. So those are two size tarantulas that I would not handle. Now in here is Hoodoo. So she is kind of the size of a tarantula that I would start handling. She is juvenile. Whoop. So she's a juvenile size at the moment, and she is kind of a decent size. If I put my hand next to her, she's like chunky enough that you can see her, but also still quite small. So she's reaching kind of juvenile size at the moment. Hi, beautiful. Another one I would hold is this one, who is a sub-adult female. This is Nadjah, my Grammostola pulchripes. And she is another size of tarantula that I would hold because of her size. Anyone bigger than that, I would also probably hold. But these are the two sizes that you kind of want to go for when you think about holding your tarantulas. And maybe leave ones like this until they get a little bit bigger. So there are a couple of things that you're going to need before you handle your tarantula. The first thing is always a catch cup. You are always going to need to have a catch cup somewhere close by. If you really want to be super prepared, you can have two, one on each side, just in case. But you need at least one, just in case anything should go wrong. You will need a paintbrush to test your tarantula to make sure she can come out. And you will need an open space, preferably clear of clutter, so that if your tarantula runs, you'll be able to see where she is, as well as a tarantula. Now this is Nadjah. She is my Grammostola pulchripes even. And she's relatively new, but she's just very friendly, and I'm going to see if I can get her to walk out. You always want to use a paintbrush first to encourage her to move, but also to check to make sure she's okay, and calmly get her to walk out. But that wasn't very calm. I get it was a bit of an awkward place. That's fine. So now that you have your tarantula out, you want to make sure, I'm trying to tip the camera down. You want to make sure that your hand is as close to the floor as you can get it, so that if she does fall or bolt, she won't have very far to fall, and that will ensure that she doesn't hurt herself. Whereas if you hold her higher up and she bolts, she'll have higher to fall. If your hands are as close to the floor, as close to, I don't know, a leg or something, then she'll fall off your hand or whatever, and she won't fall so far before she ends up on a leg or a floor or something, and she probably won't injure herself as much as if you were, say, standing up and walking around with her. So there are some things that you should remember when you have your tarantula out. First of all, I would recommend very highly that you stay calm. If you're calm and slow and gentle, then the tarantula is more than likely to be slow and calm and gentle. If the tarantula freaks out and then you freak out, then the tarantula is going to freak out even more, because there's going to be even more things occurring that is going to be stressing it out more. Whereas if the tarantula is freaking out and you're remaining as calm as possible, the tarantula is more than likely to stay calm as well, or to not escalate and become worse. And that is really, really important. If you saw my video of me handling Poltergeist, where she was running everywhere and I was trying my best to stay calm, you'll see that if I had freaked out, she would have ended up worse, whereas me being calm helped her to be calmer than if I hadn't been. Another thing I would recommend is to make sure you're in a quiet room, to make sure that you keep your voice down. I mean, you can talk to them because I think they enjoy that, but just do it in a quiet voice, in a place with like not lots of noise or like lots of things that are gonna cause the tarantula to panic or run. Another thing I would say is to maybe make sure that you're holding a tarantula in a room that doesn't have a lot of breezes. If you have open windows or a fan, it could end up spooking the tarantula. Also, when you're holding a tarantula, try to keep it away from your face and don't breathe directly on the tarantula. I know that sounds a bit weird, but if you breathe on the tarantula, the air can scare it and it can cause it to bolt, and that's the kind of opposite thing that we want to do. Nextly, you have to pay attention to your spider. Pay attention to her behaviors. As you can see right now, she's very, very calm and she's completely fine. If she was to panic and start running and start bolting and start acting as though she's in distress, that's when the situation needs to change. You need to very calmly put the spider back in its enclosure, or very calmly resolve that situation so it's not an issue. Whatever you do, you have to stay in control. As long as you are in control and you are calmly guiding the situation, everything should be fine. Finally, when you want to put your tarantula back in its enclosure, all you need to do is get it to go back on your hand, and then you just bring your hand back to the tarantula's enclosure. And we just have to try and get her to go. So I'm just going to try and encourage her to walk off and go back into her enclosure. And there you have it. That is one tarantula holding. That went pretty well. She behaved nicely. She was okay. She came out, wandered around for a bit, and then went back into her closure. All of the things that could have happened was able to be anticipated and kept in control and kept under control. She did not get injured or harmed. I did not get injured or harmed, and that was a nice, decent handling session, and she went back into her enclosure fine. She's okay. She's not hurt, she's not injured, she's totally fine, and back to doing her spidery things in her enclosure. When you are done handling your tarantula, make sure you put the lid on and lock everything up, because the last thing you'd want is to lose your tarantula. So a moment ago, I showed you how to pick a tarantula out using the paintbrush method and letting the tarantula to just walk out of the enclosure and onto your hand. Now, with spiders like Kalavera, who can be a little bit more nervous and a little bit uncertain, there are other ways that you can get the tarantula to come out of the enclosure, and I was going to show you a different way using a catch cup. So this is a little bit different. Use the catch cup, you get the spider to go into the catch cup, and then you take the spider out of the catch cup and onto your hand. And that's what I'm going to show you to do here with Kalavera. So yeah, I'm going to try putting you up here and see how that goes. I don't actually know how much you can see from here. Can you see her house? Okay, so I'm hoping that you can see from there. I'm just gonna use okay. So I'm gonna use this catch cup, and I'm gonna try and get her to go into this catch cup. Now, when she's in the catch cup, I'm just going to turn the catch cup around like this. I'm going to hold it in my hands, like in my fingers, with my thumb on there to support it. And I'm going to bring her down to the table level just to be safe. And then I'm going to try and bring you guys down here as well, just so I can make sure that you can see her for yourself. So I'm just gonna put the paintbrush behind her, and I'm gonna just encourage her to come onto my hand nice and calmly. When she's about halfway in and out of the cup, or most of the way out, you can just tip the cup up, but put it nearby somewhere so that you'll be able to, it's okay, get her out. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. If you need to. It's alright. Oh, it's okay. Good girl. There's a good girl. Now she's a little bit bigger than most other spiders, so she does need more hands. She's also a little bit more skittish. Okay. You need to make sure that you're being very calm and very careful. And if you could see, she was starting to get a little bit more panicky, and I was talking to her, being really calm. I was keeping my breathing calm, and even there I was starting to worry a little bit. I tried my best to stay as calm as possible, and now look, she's being calm. It's a little bit weird for them to be out. Oh, I'm sorry, sweetie. They're not always used to it. And she's quite a large tarantula as well, so she needs 2 hands. But she's doing very well. And she's being very good. So I'm sat pressed up against this table. There are a few more things on here. But at the moment, I kind of need them to be. But she's fine. Trying to get it to go on one hand instead of multiple. There we go. And there we have it. This tarantula is typically quite rather skittish and can be a little bit uncertain. I'm trying to take the camera down. And yet, oh, there we go. She's completely calm and completely chillaxed at being held. And this is really good because this is exactly what we want her to be like. These tarantulas are typically a little bit more skittish. As you saw for like a second, she did try and be a bit skittish. But she's totally okay. And she's fine now, which is the main thing. So once again, when you're done holding your tarantula and you want to put it away, you just kind of tip your hand and then tap her legs and kind of encourage her to come off. Or not. You don't want to go back in your house, pretty girl? You want to go back in there? You not? Okay. I guess we'll go chill for a bit. So this is attempt number 2 to get Kalavera to go back in her house. I only have one hand, so I'm gonna like literally, because I'm holding the phone with the other one, so I'm just gonna hope there's gonna be a little bit more density. There we go. Good girl. So she's super good now. Oh my goodness. So when I tried to put her in earlier, she just really wasn't wanting to go in. It was fine. She stayed out for a little while longer. And now she's ready to go back in. Like always, guys, make sure you put your lids back onto your tarantula houses. Oh. Make sure that you always put your lids back on your tarantula houses and make sure they, as always, make sure you put your lids back on your tarantula's houses. Make sure they clip down and they lock properly so that you don't have any creepy little tarantula escapes. Whoops. Make sure that they lock down because you don't want to have any tarantula escapes. And there you go. You can put your tarantula back wherever it was that it was before you got it down. Lastly, I'm going to show you the final method that I use to get some of my tarantulas out. And that is to test the tarantula and then put your hand in the house and get the tarantula to walk directly onto your hand. So in order to show you this, I will be using my little juvenile curly hair tarantula or Tarantulas albopilosus. This is Salem. And we're just going to test Salem to make sure we're not in a crazy mood. So I'm just gonna poke her out. So we're a bit runny, but we're not really gonna do that. Not really in a biting mood, and that's a good thing. So I'm gonna put my hand here like this, and I'm just gonna gently guide her onto my hand. It would probably be better if it was a bit more sort of flat, but her house is a bit small for me to put my hand flat in there. We just use the paintbrush to push her on, and there we have it. So she is now on our hand. And once again, we put her back closer to the floor because even though she's not quite as big as the other two I was handling, I still don't want to risk her falling and hurting herself or risk her running or anything like that. I still have my catch cup, which is right here, just in case. And I have my paintbrush nearby. I have her enclosure, which is right there, just in case I need it. She just is gonna chill in my hand. That's all she seems to do. Every time I get her out, she'll find a little cubby bit in my hand and she'll snuggle in and go to sleep. Which is like the sweetest and cutest thing that she can do. There are different tarantulas that obviously have different temperaments. The curly hair tarantulas are generally more calm and docile, although some people do have some crazy curly hairs. I will sort of admit I've heard some horror tales about curly hair tarantulas. I would say I'm not really comfortable with handling old world tarantulas at the moment. I've only just started getting old world tarantulas. I may try and hold them one day when I get a bit more confident with them, but for right now I definitely don't want to try and hold them. And honestly, a lot of the baboons that I've got and a lot of the old worlds I've got, except Ouija, are quite small, so I definitely want to get to know them better, to work with them a bit more, to see what their temperament is like, and then perhaps one day in the future I will try holding them. But for right now I'm sticking to New Worlds, and I would honestly recommend you do the same, because I know that old worlds are a bit faster and can be a bit more bitey, and I don't want to risk anybody getting hurt. But yeah, I think there are some kind of tarantulas who are a little bit more happy to be handled, and there are ones that aren't quite as happy to be handled. My Lasiodora parahubana enjoys being handled, or at least doesn't mind being handled, whereas my Lasiodora difficilis is a little bit more uncertain of it. My pumpkin patch tarantula Trick will wander out of her enclosure onto my hand, usually without being prompted. So she enjoys wandering on my hand. I don't often I didn't intend on holding her. She is a bit small, but yeah, she chose that life, not me, and she's very well behaved and she's on my hand, so because she's so chill, I don't really stop her from trying, and I just let her come out when she feels like it. But yeah, this little baby is such a snuggle buddy. She'll just chill in my hand for ages, and she'll I can watch TV and she'll just sit in my hand for as long as I let her to. Usually I can't get her to go back in her house because she'll walk back out, but you know, sometimes you just gotta put them back because you've got other things to do, and you can't spend your entire day holding a tiny little tarantula, even though I'm sure most people would be pretty happy to do that. But yeah, now that we've had her out, I'm going to just try and put her back in her house. So I'm just going to tip her down like this and gently use my finger just to encourage her back into her enclosure, like so. Nice, calm, gentle, relaxed handling session once again. And that is kind of what we want to go for every single time, because that's kind of what we want for the tarantula, and it's also kind of what we want for us as well. Because I don't personally want to be stressed out trying to hold my tarantulas, and I don't feel like I want to stress them out trying to hold them either. So honestly, the most relaxing experiences are the best ones, and those are the ones that I want to try and encourage with my spiders. I could go on and show you all of the different tarantulas that I'll handle, and I could show you holding every single tarantula, but I think I've shown you sort of the 3 different ways that you can try getting a tarantula out. I showed you how every single one of them, though they're quite different. I had one tarantula that was a bit more scatty, I had one that was kind of chill, and then obviously Salem that was quite chill as well. And all of them had very chill, relaxing kind of experiences. Kalavera was perhaps a little bit more skitty than the other 2, but everyone was okay, everyone was calm, and the situation was managed very well. So I think it kind of shows that if you kind of stay calm and you kind of keep yourself on a chill kind of level with the tarantulas, they kind of, I don't know if they pick up on the calm and then they keep themselves calm too, but it's kind of a calming experience and a kind of chill out experience, which is what I wanted to kind of have and what I want to kind of do with my tarantulas. I don't want to have a situation of crazy or a situation of stress. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, maybe give it a thumbs up and comment something. If you do use any of these techniques or any of my tips to try and handle your tarantulas and you manage to record it, maybe tag me or send it to me so I can see, because I'd love to see you guys trying to handle your tarantulas and stuff like that. But if not, then don't worry. The most important thing is having the safety of the tarantula. Maybe you try and handle the tarantula for a bit and then take a video of it when you're a bit more confident and able to and then tag me in it when you feel a bit more confident. If you do have any questions or you do want me to clarify anything, then just drop me a message. You can even comment on there and I'll answer whatever I can. And if you're on my Instagram, you can send me a message on there. If you are not on my Instagram already, then you can follow me on there for more videos, more pictures, more tips and little reels and stuff like that. I am trying to remember to upload them to YouTube as well, though. I do tend to upload them a little bit more on Instagram than I do on YouTube. So if you want to follow me there, you can on Spook Ellie Spoots. And yeah, I hope you guys have had a great day, and I'll see you again soon for an unboxing video, I think, next. So I'll see you again for that. Bye.